unto Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahushai, Ba'Hashem, Rakah, Kudash. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me the truth. Also, I want to acknowledge Al Akyam, who are pushing the truth with sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. And this is Shabai from the GMS Denver camp, doing a lesson in Daniel 6 through the Spirit. All right, it says, chapter 6, verse 1. It pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 princes, which should be over the whole kingdom. All right, and the kingdom of Darius was the old Persian Empire, right? The Medo-Persian Empire. And basically, this was a big-ass empire. It was, another name for it was the Achaemenid Empire. All right, which I believe that word, it means the empire or the kingdom. And it says right here, just a little information on it. This is the kingdom was an ancient Iranian empire founded by Cyrus the Great of the Achaemenid dynasty in 550 BC. At peak, its territorial extent was roughly 5.5 million square kilometers, making it the largest empire of its time. Based in the Iranian plateau, it stretched forth from the Balkans and Egypt in the west to the Indus Valley in the east, and including Anatolia, Cyprus, Mesopotamia, the Levant, and parts of eastern Arabia, and large parts of Central Asia. Okay, so it was a big-ass empire, the biggest of its time, and that's why it needed 120 princes, of whom, let's read it, verse 2, and over these 3 presidents, of whom Daniel was first, that the princes might give accounts unto them, and the king should have no damage. Okay, so basically Daniel was really running the show, you know. All the accounts were given to Daniel and those 2 other presidents, right? And the kings should have no damage, meaning the kings didn't have, all they had to do was, make major decisions, final decisions. But the backbone, doing the work was Daniel, right? So he was the Most High Yahweh had put him in high favor with Darius, King Darius. It says, then this Daniel was preferred above the presidents and princes because an excellent spirit was in him, and the king thought to set him over the whole realm. You see? And that's the thing about Israelites. We have excellent spirits, especially the elect, The spirit of the elect is excellent, man. That's it even tells you, remember when they were in ancient Egypt? Let me see. Let me go to this real quick. Let's see. Oops. Yeah, this is it. Let's go to because we're the salt of the earth. We have a different spirit than these heathen. We have, we're more lively, we're more spunky, we're more funky, we have salt, compared to these heathen. We're more we have a better spirit. Exodus 1:19, it's talking about, let's see. All right, talking about the midwives, the Hebrew women, which were Israelites. Let's start at 16. It says, and he said, when you do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him, but if it be a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwives feared the Most High, and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men children alive. And the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said unto them, Why have ye done this thing, and have saved the men children alive? Because they wanted the babies killed that were males of Israel. And it says in verse 19, And the midwives said unto the Pharaoh, Because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively, and they are delivered ere the midwives come in unto them. Therefore the Most High dealt with the midwives, and people multiplied, and the people multiplied and waxed very mightily. So the point being is the Egyptian women were different. They had a different spirit than the Hebrews, which were the Israelite women. Right? It says they're lively. You know, these women, even nowadays, right? You look at Israel, we have better spirit. We have an excellent spirit compared to these heathen. Even compared to the 2/3, if you're of the elect, your spirit is excellent. You see. So let's get Daniel 6, and I'm at verse, I think 4. Then the presidents and princes sought to find occasion against Daniel concerning the kingdom, but they could find none occasion nor fault, for as much as he was faithful. Neither was there any error or fault found in him. Then said these men, We shall not find any occasion against this Daniel, except we find it against him concerning the law of his God. All right, so they're like, they can't find no fault in the man, so they're trying to, find a fault in his power, in his God. It says, Then these presidents and princes assembled together to the king, and said thus unto him, King Darius, live forever. All the presidents of the kingdom, and the governors, and the princes, the counselors, the captains, and have consulted together to establish a royal statute, and to make a firm decree that whosoever shall ask a petition of any god or man for 30 days, save of thee, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lions. So they were plotting, right, against Daniel. They're like, because they knew he prayed each day. So they're like, and a petition is another word for a prayer, right? But they're basically like, listen, we're gonna catch him in this fashion, right? It says in verse 8, Now, O king, establish the decree and sign the writing, that it be not changed according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which altereth not. Wherefore King Darius signed the writing and the decree. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went to his house, and his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his God, as he did aforetime. So that's the spirit of the elect, man. You want to, like, they made this wicked decree, right? Just like Esau Edom, he does wicked decrees. He creates wicked laws and statutes and then he expects the men of Yahweh Bashem Yoshai to follow him, but we're in a different spirit. Remember, we have an excellent spirit as being the hopeful elect. And an excellent spirit, it means when it comes to Yahweh Bashem Yoshai, we're going to put that first. You see? Just like when Esau Edom ushers in his micro C-hip, we're not going to be a part of that system, And there's going to be people like this that are going to be plotting against us, like talking about, yo, look, these dudes didn't take the device. These guys didn't take the C-hip, plotting on us. Let's keep reading. 11. Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his power. Then they came near and spake before the king concerning the king's decree. Hast thou not signed a decree that every man that shall ask a petition of any god or man within 30 days, save of thee, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions? The king answered and said, The thing is true, according to the law of the Medes and the Persians, which altereth not. Then answered they and said before the king, that Daniel, which is of the children of the captivity of Judah, regardeth not thee, O king, nor the decree that thou hast signed, but maketh his petition 3 times a day. See, so they was literally plotting against him, plotting and scheming against Daniel, because he was praying 3 times a day. You see, and that's what it is. This is like a draconian decree, draconian law. You know, they're trying to get him hemmed up just because he's praying. And that shows you the wickedness of these heathen and the 2/3. Because I'm sure some of these princes were 2/3. You know, they were probably as wicked Israelites that were hating on Daniel. They were hating on the excellent spirit of the elect. You see, we're gonna go through these same type of situation, same type of events where you're gonna have 2/3 in heathen hating on you, throwing you under the bus, trying to make it known that you don't have a RFID C-hip, you know. And this is the stuff, this is why we're going to need Yahweh Bashim Yahushai in those days to direct our steps, right? It says, now then these men assembled unto the king and said unto the king, Now, O king, the law of the Medes and the Persian is that no decree nor statute which the king established may be changed. All right. So there's this plotting, man, perpetrating, coming against the men of the Lord. Just in the same fashion they're going to do that to us. Talking about these guys don't have a micro C-hip, man. These guys are outlaws. Because you're going to be considered an outlaw in that day when the so-called white man mandates the micro C-hip, the RFID, CHIP, the mark of the beast, okay? Then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the den of lions. Now the king spake and said unto Daniel, The Most High whom thou servest continually will deliver thee. And a stone was brought and laid upon the mount of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet, and with the signet of his lords, that the purpose might not be changed concerning Daniel. So they locked up Daniel in the lion's den, right? And a stone was brought and laid upon the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet and with the signet of his lords, that the purpose might not be changed concerning Daniel. Then the king went into his palace and passed the night fasting. Neither were instruments of music brought before him, and his sleep went from him. So the king was pretty stressed out because, you know, he had favor on Daniel. You know, he liked Daniel. You see, it was just that he had to honor that law, because basically these men were perpetrating and plotting and scheming, you know, against the prophet Daniel. And so the Lord had put a spirit on Darius where he was kind of stressed out because he actually liked Daniel. Verse 19, Then the king arose very early in the morning and went in haste unto the den of lions. He went to go check on the prophet Daniel. And when he came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king spake and said to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living God, is thy God, whom thou servest, continually able to deliver thee from the lions? Then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. My power, Yahweh, hath sent his angel, and hath shut the lions' mouths, that they have not hurt me, for as much as before him innocency was found in me, and also before thee, O king, I have done no hurt. See? So the Most High, he's going to do that kind of stuff for us, man. When we remain faithful servants to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, you know, even though these draconian laws are going to be put into place, you know, namely the micro CHIP, you know, when they make that thing mandatory, And you're going to be considered an outlaw, a fugitive, because you're not going to be able to move in society without that device. But if you remain faithful as the elect, well, guess what? The Most High is going to deliver us from that thing. And the men of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, starting out with the men of GMS, starting out with our elders, we sincerely believe that we are going to be, protected. Just like Daniel was protected, just like the Lord shut the mouths of the lions, there's going to be miracles done to protect the elect. All right? Verse 23, it says, then was the king exceeding glad for him, and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in his power Yahweh. You see that? You have to believe, man. You have to. If you're a part of this ministry, if you're part of this truth, if you're in the Most High Yahweh, B'Shem Yahushua have given you a spirit of repentance, then guess what? You have to believe wholeheartedly. You can't have doubt, right? Let's get that real quick. Let me grab a couple precepts. You can't have no doubt, man. You can't have no wavering faith, okay, when it comes to this times that we're coming into. And the elect, guess what? The Most High Yahweh, B'Shem Yahushai, going to give you a spirit of endurance, spirit that will have no doubt. We'll start with Mark 11:23. It says, Yahushai speaking, "For verily I say unto you, that whosoever shall say unto this mountain, Be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart or in your mind, but shall believe that those things which he saith shall come to pass, he shall have whatsoever he saith." You see? So we can't have no doubt in our minds when it comes to, this faith. And guess what? It's gonna, we have to believe wholeheartedly in these prophecies that they're going to come to pass. All right? Let's read verse 24. "Therefore I stand unto you, what things soever ye desire when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them." So that's for the elect, man. This is a power so great working with us, that if we pray and we're sincere and we have no faith, that's Satan, and we have no doubt in our faith that these prophecies will come to pass as they are written, guess what? We're going to receive these blessings. We're going to have these rewards that are promised unto us as being the elect, the hopeful elect. Right? Verse 25. "And when ye stand praying, forgive if ye have aught against any, that your Father also which is in heaven may forgive you your trespass." Okay? So let me get James 1:6. It says, "But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavereth is like a wave of a sea driven in the wind, and driven with the wind and tossed. For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of Yahweh, B'Shem Yahushai. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways." All right, so if your faith is wavering, man, the Most High says, we're supposed to wish that you don't receive anything. If you have, and that's why the ministry, it's very strict, very austere. We're not sitting here like, if we see somebody who lacks faith, we don't want that person to have a reward. You don't have the faith, man. So keep it moving. We're not going to sit here like these pagan Christians and pray for you. If we see that you lack faith and you don't believe in this ministry, guess what? It's over. It's finished. We're not dealing with you. You know, you come across an unbelieving soul, an unbelieving spirit, a person who doesn't have an excellent spirit like the elect, you know, move on from that motherfucker. Don't sit there and waste your time, you know. What's that term? It's like beating a dead horse, you know. You don't fuck with these spirits that are not faithful, these faithless spirits, these spirits that don't have, you know, that key ingredient, which is faith. You have to have faith for any of this to work in your favor. Okay. You lack faith, if you're wavering, you know, then guess what? You're not part of the elect, and the elect are not gonna pray for you. We're not gonna deal with you, you know. That's why we focus on the elect. We endure everything for the elect's sake. That's what Paul said. We don't go through these trials and tribulations for the fucking 2/3 or the heathen. Okay, this is all about the elect. I got that word wavering. It says moving in a quivering way, becoming weaker, faltering, undecided between two opinions or courses of action. Right, you have to be fully persuaded, right? The scriptures, does it not say that? Let's get that real quick. Let's get that. Fully persuaded when it comes to this ministry, okay? You can't sit there and say one day, oh yeah, I have all this faith, and then the next day you're doing everything that basically your actions show that you have no faith, you know? You're going to have men that say they have the faith, but they're going to fold and take that micro C-hip, you know? Put that wicked device in their hand or in their forehead, you know, the Neuralink. Let's go Romans 4:21. It says, let me see. Okay, and this is talking about our forefather Abraham. It says, he staggered not at the promise of the Most High through unbelief, but was strong in faith, giving glory to the Most High, and being fully persuaded that what he had promised he was able also to perform. And therefore it was imputed to him for righteousness. Okay, so if you see that, our forefather Abraham, he didn't stagger. He wasn't like, oh, well, maybe he's going to make me the father of a bunch of nations, many nations, or maybe not, you know. No, when he was given that vision, when he was given that message, he believed it wholeheartedly. And that's the same way we have to be with these prophecies that are getting ready to fix and to come to pass, you know. We have to believe that we're going to be rewarded by enduring in that hour of temptation, you know. So we have to believe that we're going to be delivered when, you know, from the arrows, you know, the missiles. You have to have that belief wholeheartedly, you know. You can't be wavering. You have to be fully persuaded like our forefather Abraham, okay? Let me see. This is what it says right here on a random breakdown. It says 4:21, Romans fully persuaded. It says the context. This verse is about Abraham, who was fully persuaded that the Most High was able to keep the promise he had made, right? In the meaning, it says this demonstrates a complete trust in the Most High's power to perform his promises, which is why Abraham's faith was imputed to him for righteousness, okay? Let's get that word imputed. Imputed, it means, let's see.
Imputed.
It says assigned to something by inference from the value of the products or process to which it contributes. Let me see. I don't know if that helped. Let's see. Oh, excuse me. It says impute, to lay the responsibility or blame for something, often falsely or unjustly, to credit or ascribe to a person or a cause. Okay, I think that's the one we're looking for. Right? And therefore it was credited to him for righteousness. Yeah, because he was fully persuaded, then that's what makes sense. It says, then he was credited for righteousness, right? So, like, to his credit, he had unwavering faith, and that's how we got to be. So let's go back to Daniel. We'll finish off in Daniel 6. We're almost towards the end. It says in verse 23, then was the king exceeding glad for him, and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in the Most High. You see? And that's how we got to be. Daniel is our one of our examples. Everything has been written aforetime before our learning, as it tells you in, I believe that's Romans. Let me see. I might be wrong. Let me look at it. But these examples of the righteousness of our forefathers, they're in these scriptures to remind us and to encourage us and to comfort us, that we're going to be okay when we deal with these type of persecutions and oppressions. Okay? Let's see. Yeah, I said Romans. Yeah, it was right. Romans. I'll grab it. Romans 15 and verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. Okay? So the account of Abraham having unwavering faith, the account of Daniel being protected in the lion's den because he trusted in Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. These things were written for aforetime, meaning before time, before our time, so that we could, have an example of somebody with an excellent spirit and strong faith and full trust in Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Okay, Daniel 6. And where am I at? Verse 24. And the king commanded that they brought those men which had accused Daniel, and they cast them into the den of lions, them, their children, and their wives, and the lions had the mastery of them, and brake all their bones in pieces, wherever they came at the bottom of the den. So you got to remember, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai controls all the spirits. Yahweh controls the animals, the spirits of the animal. He put the spirit on those lions to open their mouths against these people that accuse Daniel. And that's the same thing with us. These people that come against us, the Most High is gonna deal with them. And if they're coming against us, offending us, treating us wickedly, doing bad things to his prophets, his servants, you have to remember, we have Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai is on our side, and we're going to be protected. And not only that, Yahweh, it says in the scriptures that vengeance is Yahweh's, so he's going to take vengeance on our behalf on these wicked doers, these 2/3, these heathen that come against us. Don't get it twisted. Yahweh's going to handle them for us. See? Just like he did with these ones that accused Daniel. Verse 25, then King Darius wrote unto all people, nations, and languages that dwell in all the earth, peace be multiplied unto you. I make a decree that in every dominion of my kingdom men tremble and fear before the God of Daniel. For he is the living power and steadfast forever, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed, and his dominion shall be even unto the end. All right? So you got to compare, the first thing that comes to mind for me is when you read that, you got to compare the spirit of Darius compared to the spirit of Pharaoh or the king of Babylon, America, right? Like these heathen, they're not as wicked as fucking these Edomites, because King Darius, he had somewhat of a righteous spirit by declaring that after Daniel was was spared because of his righteousness and his complete trust in Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. You see, he actually, we just read it. We just read the verse. He said, fear the God of Daniel. You don't see Donald Trump saying that, Verse 27, it says, he delivereth and rescueth, and he worketh signs and wonders in heaven and in earth, who hath delivered Daniel from the power of the lions. So this Daniel prospered in the reign of Darius and in the reign of Cyrus the Persian. So Daniel was able to thrive in the Medo-Persian Empire, right? And it's why? Because he had an excellent spirit. The elect have that excellent spirit. And part of an excellent spirit goes into you not having a lack of faith, having unwavering faith, having complete trust in Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Okay? So with that, I want to give all the praise, all the glory, all the honor unto Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai B'Hashem Ruka Kodash. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me the truth. Also want to acknowledge all the Akyam who are pushing the truth with sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom.